There we go. Good morning and welcome to our Sunday celebration service here at Center for Spiritual Living, Minneapolis. I'm Jeff Bird, and to those of you watching on our website, welcome to you also. Hopefully you saw that you have to unmute to hear the sound on it, so we'll have to get that going for people. It starts off on the website, now that we just have our new website, with it being muted because it's coming off of YouTube rather than Facebook Live, so we're excited to be driving people to our new website and working with that. Our statement of truth is there is a power for good in the universe, and you can consciously use it. And our mission here is to teach, demonstrate, and inspire a positive spiritual approach to life. And with that, I'd like to introduce our newest musician, Claire Vanderkromet. Got it? Go for it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a long last name. The only good part about it is you can always tell if it's a marketing call. So the best laid plans sometimes get changed. We were supposed to have words up on the screen, but you know, life is a moving target, so I think what we're going to do is maybe I'll run through a refrain, and if it sticks, great, join in, and if not, hey, it's all good. So the chorus is, Spirit calls, come up higher, Spirit calls, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher, love lifts us up, sets us free. Spirit calls, come up higher, Spirit calls, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher, love lifts us up, sets us free. One more time. Spirit calls, come up higher, Spirit calls, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher, love lifts us up, sets us free. Sets us free from all lack or limitation. Sets us free to realize what we can be. We are free and unlimited in life, truth and love. Spirit calls, so stand up and be free. Spirit calls, come up higher, Spirit calls, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher, love lifts us up, sets us free. Love lifts us up and sets us free.
The music's working, isn't it? Well, if everyone just take a minute, take a deep breath, and just be present right now as we enjoy the beautiful sunshine outside and get ready for our days to be going on. And we do recognize that there is only one universal mind, one universal consciousness, and we are all part of that. As Rumi said, we're not a drop in the ocean, we are the ocean in a drop, each and every one of us. And as we move forward with this, we're thankful for everything that came together, other than our screen, to have this session be here. We're thankful for other things that are going on. We're thankful for everybody here. We're thankful for our new musician, and we're thankful for our speaker today. Thankful to all of you for being here, and so it is. The group reading will be a repeat. I am ready to deepen my conviction in the power and presence for good. I am ready to apply it in my daily life.
I am ready to apply it in my daily life.
I am ready to receive God's highest blessings.
I am ready to receive God's highest blessings.
I am ready to live from a higher level of beingness.
I am ready to live from a higher level of beingness.
And most importantly, I am ready to be a transformative light in the world.
I am ready to be a transformative light in the world.
And think about that one when you leave today, because you can be that to anybody and everyone out there. It's an important piece of who we are. Now we are going to light the flames of faith with Mary Sue lighting them for us. We acknowledge that there's a lot of paths and a lot of names for the one. And we acknowledge that by lighting our flames of faith to acknowledge the other paths that are out there. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by a sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as a path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. And now take a moment to light the candle inside for all forms of new thought. Know that that candle is burning bright every day of the week, every hour of the day, and so it is. Our inspirational reading today will be read by Dennis.
Good morning. The reading today comes from a book called A Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield. The longing for love and the movement of love is underneath all of our activities. The happiness we discover in life is not about possessing, owning, or even understanding. Instead, it is the discovery of this capacity to love, to have a loving, free, and wise relationship with all of life. Such love is not possessive, but arises out of a sense of our own well-being and its connection with everything. Therefore, it is generous and wakeful, and it loves the freedom of all things. Out of love, our path can lead us to learn to use our gifts to heal and serve, to create space and peace, and to honor the sacred in life, to bless whatever we encounter, and to wish all beings well. Spiritual life may seem complicated, but in its essence, it is not. We can find a clarity and simplicity even in the midst of this complex world when we discover that the quality of heart we bring to life is what matters to most. The Zen poet Ryokan summed this up when he said, "The rain has stopped, the clouds have drifted away, and the weather is clear again. If your heart is pure, then all things in your world are pure. Then the moon and flowers will guide you along the way." All other spiritual teachings are in vain if we cannot love. Even the most exalted states and the most exceptional spiritual accomplishments are unimportant if we cannot be happy in the most basic and ordinary ways. If with our hearts we cannot touch one another in the life we have been given. What matters is how we live. This is why it is so difficult and so important to ask this question of ourselves. Am I living my path fully? And do I live with regret? So that we can say on whatever day is the end of our life, yes, I have lived my path with heart.
Thank you, Dennis. And are we ready for another song? I think so. Take it away, Claire.
I decided Cat Stevens would be a good person to channel this morning. Love this song because it's about listening. And when the heart is involved, listening is a good thing.
takes me, where I'll end up, only God really knows. I sat upon the setting sun, but never, 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 I never wanted water once. No, never, 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 never. I listen to my words, but they fall far below. I let my music take me where my heart wants to go. I sat upon the setting sun, but never, 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 I never wanted water once. No, never, 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 never. I listen to the wind of my soul. I let my music take me where my heart wants to go. I sat upon the setting sun, but never, 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 I never wanted water once. No, never, 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 never. I listen to the wind of my soul.
You'd never guess she also teaches guitar, would you? And now it's time for our Sunday talk from Reverend Joanne. Oh, hello.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for that beautiful music, Claire, for being here with us today. I've heard Claire at Unity and suggested to Debbie and the crew that we invite her to come here, and I think you've just done a great job. So today we're talking about the heart. The heart knows what the heart wants, but are we listening? And so we're talking about ways to open our heart today, ways to listen. And as Dennis read, some of the stuff I'm talking about today is from this book, A Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield, who was a monk. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as I go through this today. So how would it be to let Spirit flower every day in your life? How would that be, to let Spirit flower every day in your life, to really let goodness penetrate your life, to penetrate it, to imbue it, to saturate it, to infuse it? You know what I'm talking about? Really live it. You know, sometimes we kind of go through life in a kind of a vanilla way, and what we're talking about here is really allowing ourselves, allowing our hearts to be open and really be permeated with this goodness of life. So how would that look? So Jack Kornfield decided to be a monk. He left his home in the United States and he goes over to Tibet. He studies, he becomes a monk, and then he goes to Thailand, where he goes into this forest monastery. and he'd heard all kinds of things about what happens there, and he wasn't expecting really to levitate, but he thought maybe, thought miraculous things would happen. He'd have these extraordinary experiences, so he's all set for that. But instead, he was offered a way of life, a lifelong path of awakening, surrender, and commitment, kind of like the rest of us. He wasn't exempt from everyday life. We all have these ups and downs in our life. We're always going to have that. We don't ever have to think, oh, I just thought now I would not have any problems because I've reached this level of my spirituality. That's not the way life works. We're going to be given some challenges, keeps life interesting, keeps us on our toes, and that's what life is. We're going to be confronting these challenges throughout our life. So he was a little surprised, and we're all reminded that for the most part, we're just going to be continually facing these challenges. So it's our perspective. How do we look at these challenges? When a problem comes up, do we say, oh no, I thought I was over these problems, I'm going to crawl under the sheets again and forget about it? No. We look at these problems, say, I have a power within me, I can tackle whatever it is that comes my way today. We don't necessarily have to let our circumstances steal our joy. I love that. I say that sometimes if I feel like somebody's stealing my joy. I say, nothing, nobody can steal my joy. It's inside of me. It doesn't depend on outward circumstances. That joy is within me. Now, I'm thinking that since I mentioned that this guy was a Buddhist monk, this Jack Hornfield, you might still be mulling that over. Why are we listening to instructions from a Buddhist monk here at CSL, Minneapolis, this morning? Well, I want to give you just a little bit of a tutorial on Buddhism. And for those of you that are studying to be a minister, one of the classes that we all have to take is called World Religions, and this one is included. And so what I have here are notes from the class I took about world religion, and I use them all the time when I want to remind myself, what is Buddhism about again? What's Islam? And just a little refresher. And I've talked to people in this room in different gatherings of science of mind people who say, well, I consider myself a Buddhist, but I can very easily apply all the stuff we are taught here at our Science of Mind Center. So there's a lot of things that fit. One of the things that we have in common with Buddhism is personal experience is the final test of truth. Personal experience. And I often say that. The only thing I really know is what I've experienced. I mean, there's other stuff I might believe, like life after death. I believe that this essence of that power that is within me and everybody, I believe that goes on after this shell of a body dies, yet I've never experienced it. So I don't, I believe that. I believe it, and the reason I believe it is yesterday at our gathering to do our vision board stuff, was fun because we had people that were saying, here's what happened to me. And when you hear people saying what happened to them and just these incredible coincidences or incredible miraculous stuff that happens, it just makes you think there's a power in the universe that can do that in, through, and as us. Perhaps that same power lives on after we die. So I believe that that's kind of what we have one of the things we have in common with Buddhism, that this personal experience is the final test of truth. Another one is this scientific element, attention to the cause and effect of life's experiences. That's a Buddhism thing, and certainly we talk about it all the time, cause and effect. We plant those seeds into that law of life, and that's what we outpicture in our lives. Cause and effect happens every day to everyone. And then Buddhism is pragmatic or practical, just like we think our teaching is. It teaches, if teachings weren't useful tools, there'd be no use. What we use here are practical things that we can use every day in our life, every day. I've heard other more conservative friends of mine say, yeah, I wish that we would talk a little bit more or hear a little bit more about, yes, and here's how you can use this message every day in your life, how you can put it to work today. And in some churches, that doesn't come out very much. It's more about our salvation versus how we can live our day-to-day life today. Another thing is the psychological, dealing with our human problems here and now. That's what Buddhism does, and that's what we do too. And egalitarianism. The Buddhists don't believe in the caste system. And we too like to think we open our arms and everybody is welcome and we don't exclude anybody. Right speech. That's part of the teachings of Buddhism. Well, that's part of that book that we like to study called The Four Agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Pay attention to what you're saying. Right mindfulness. All we are is the results of what we have thought. All things can be mastered by mindfulness. That's Buddhism, and that's certainly what we teach too. Right concentration. Oh, I didn't know if I should include this because I have trouble saying this word. With the extirpation, that means getting rid of delusion, craving, and hostility, we see that things were not as bad as they were supposed to be. I mean, that's Buddhism, and this is what we teach too. Let it go. If it doesn't serve me, anything that doesn't serve me, let it go. Be willing to let it go. So that's just a little bit about Buddhism and why we listen to the teachings of somebody like Jack Kornfield. And the other thing that I feel like I have in common with Jack Kornfield is that one of the things he did, he said he used the strength of mind in meditation to suppress painful feelings, and all too often didn't recognize that he was angry or sad or grieving or frustrated till a long time later. And I've been a master at that. I've been a stuffing master. Learned that when I was married to my first husband. And I did that because I found that if I expressed my anger, I sometimes paid for it physically. So I learned to zip it. And I took that to the nth degree, of course, and zipped it, any feeling that came up, I didn't recognize it. I did not recognize when I was angry, did not recognize when I was sad. It really kind of, you become this unfeeling kind of a post. And apparently this is what Jack Kornfield did too. He went into meditation and he just, let's stuff all that stuff. Let's not deal with the stuff that's painful. So the first step being, I became willing to understand the importance of allowing myself to feel those feelings that I thought were better stuffed. Allow myself, and even today, when I'm feeling something, even if it's a feeling of sadness or even if it's a feeling of anger, I sometimes say, oh my gosh, I'm having a feeling. And I embrace it, and I admit to it. And I deal with it, but in a different way. I don't stuff it. I look at it and say, wow. And usually that, for me, that's writing it down. I'm feeling this right now. And how do I want to deal with it? Blah, 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 blah. And I know the tools, so I can do that in a positive and a constructive way versus stuffing them. So, and Jack Kornfield dealt with it by shifting his practice down the chakras from the mind to his heart. And I think that's kind of what I did too. When I just allowed Spirit to guide me in dealing in a healthier way with this stuffing of my feelings. Jack Kornfield says, "We need a warrior's heart that lets us face our lives directly, our pains and our limitations, our joys and possibilities. Then we can include every aspect of our life in our spiritual practice, our body, our thoughts about the environment, art, education. Everything can be integrated spiritually into our lives. Just, we're all, it all comes under that one umbrella of knowing that that one power is within us. It is in, as, and through us, and no matter what element of our life we're going through, we can use that spirituality to get us through it. So we might ask, is my path a path with heart? Are we dealing with our individual challenges or problems? Are we dealing with it with our heart? And to me, it's about following that still small voice. And sometimes we have to be quiet in order to hear that still small voice. Just take some time. Don't, I've made it a habit not to have the TV on or the radio on. Just have quiet in my house so that I can spend time. If I have a down moment, I can listen. What's going on? Is there a direction I need to go? What's going on in my life? Jack Kornfield tells the story in this book about a guy he got to know. The guy was 30 years old, and he was rich. He's already rich. He had all kinds of money. He was, I think he was in the construction business, but he made a lot of money. He had all kinds of toys. He had the BMW, and he had the condos, and he had the townhouses, and he had the yachts, and he had all the playthings. He was doing good. He was just living high. And then he's driving his BMW one day, and he blacked out. And turned out he had a melanoma, a brain tumor. And it was very serious. And he's in the hospital, and Jack Kornfield has come to visit him. And this guy said, well, now here's what the doctor told me. The doctor says, we want to operate on you, but we'll warn you that if we take this tumor out, you may lose all your ability to read, to write, to speak, to understand any language. And we want to do this tomorrow morning, so you let us know. And so Jack Kornfield's with him that night. And, this guy didn't want to talk about his cars and his houses and his boats and all the fun he's having in the world. No. He had taken some kind of a Zen class 20 years prior to that. What this guy wanted to talk about was life and death. He wanted to talk about the possibility of dying. He wanted to talk about what would my life be like if I didn't have these functions that the doctor is warning me about. Finally he said, I've probably had enough of talking. Maybe I'm done with that part of my life. And he ended up telling the doctor, go ahead and do the operation. I'm ready for whatever may come. And after the surgery, the sister comes into the recovery room, and he says to her, good morning. And indeed, they had to remove the tumor and had not affected his speech or memory or abilities to read or write or understand. And when he gets out of the hospital, doesn't go right back into making tons of money and just building up all these fun toys that he had. Instead, he spends his time working with other people, counseling other people that have cancer like he had. He spends his time going within and deciding what's really important in life. Now, we don't all have to have a brain tumor or a stroke or anything else to come to the realization of what's important, to listen to our hearts, to live a path with heart. We don't have to do that. With some people, for him, that's what it took. I know one of the things he talks about in this book, Jack Hornfield, he says, you know, it's important, he thinks, for us to consider every day our own mortality. Think about this body dying. And I know that for some people seems kind of morbid, and yet I think what the point is, if we consider, yeah, we're all going to die. We know that intellectually. We know we're all going to die. This shell of a body going to be gone. And then what? And how important it is to think about that, not only for our to wake us up spiritually and remind us, let me live more with a God-filled life and rely on Spirit to guide me, blah, blah, blah. But just simply to appreciate each day. Seize the day. Enjoy the day. I'm alive today. I know I'm not going to be alive forever. Really enjoy life as we go along. And I'm going to just suggest that this might be a semblance of your homework. Think a little bit about that. Consider during the day, I am going to, at some point, lose this shell of a body. For some of us, it's going to be sooner than others, but, I mean, any of us could get hit by a Mack truck tomorrow. We don't know. We don't know. So it's important to consider that and make sure that we're living our life to the fullest. Some of the people that did this exercise, you know, you don't have to come up with, and the other thing he says, think of how you would be if you knew you were going to die the next day, and think of 2 acts of kindness that in the course of your life you have experienced. What have you done in a kind way for someone else? And he said, it doesn't have to be grandiose, but just let your heart bring up what it wants to bring up. And some of the people brought up things that were quite minute, like some guy remembered, well, I remember I was vying for this parking space and I let the other guy have it. Why did that come up? Just reminded him, that's who I am. That's the kind of person I am, a kind person. One of the people that reported that what she remembered that was kind is that when her father was dying, she went and made sure that he knew she loved him. Another woman remembered, she was a teacher, and she remembered comforting a crying child. You know, it doesn't have to be grandiose, but just think, let come up what wants to come up. What kindness did you do in your life? If you can't come up with something, call somebody. You got a major problem there. Think of something kind that you did in your life. So Mother Teresa says, we cannot do great things. We can only do small things with great love. And I think she knew from whereof she spoke. So let's listen to that still small voice within each of us and do what is ours to do with a great love. And I would like to invite you right now to be prepared. I will do a spiritual mind treatment regarding these words that I have just shared with you. I say these words in first person as though it's for me, and it is also for you. So just take a deep breath and just relax where you're at. No place to go, no place to be. Right here, right now. And I know there is but one power in the universe, and that power is a power for good. That power is a power that's ready, willing, and able to shower my life with all the good that I could possibly need. If that power were the ocean, I am like a wave on that ocean. I am of that essence, like Jeff was saying earlier. I am of the same essence that created everything there is. It is one with me. It experienced life in, through, and as its creation. And knowing that these words have power, I declare that even though my life hasn't always been a flower, spirit-filled life, sometimes I've chosen to wallow in my self-pity. Sometimes I've allowed fear to bring me down. Even though I've not always been a good example of a spirit-filled, spirit-led life, even though all that, I now know that I can indeed let goodness permeate my life. I choose to let Spirit imbue and saturate and really infuse my life with good. I do put myself in the middle of the stream of power and wisdom that flows into me as life, as Ralph Waldo Emerson says. I am without effort impelled to truth and right, perfect contentment. My warrior heart lets me face my life honestly. I don't have to stuff anything anymore. I can look those monsters in the eye and know that that power within leads me to my good. I listen to that inner wisdom. And I accept that this life on this earth plane is limited. At some point, I know that this shell of a body will leave me, and I declare I know that that essence of God, infinite power, lives on. So in gratitude that this goodness indeed permeates my life, saturates my life, imbues my life. And gratitude that this is the way the law works, these words spoken into law, and it is done unto me as I believe. And now I release these words to that higher power that does the work for each. And so it is.
Have you ever noticed it's always a Mack truck that hits you? It's never a Peterbilt, it's never a Volvo, it's always a Mack truck. I don't know, that little dog out there must be just chomping away at it. Yeah, well, let's hear of another song.
If there's a Mack truck, why isn't there a Mabel truck? This is by a Canadian songwriter by the name of Isla Barker. And first time I heard it, I just fell in love. It's called Intuition. Trust yourself. You know best. Face your fears, forget the rest. Listen closely, whispered breath, messages from deep within. And all of the noise makes it hard to hear the voice. All of the noise makes it hard to hear the voice. Intuition, gotta listen to the spirit deep inside. Intuition, trust the wisdom you have. Intuition. Count each breath until you can. Take them in without thinking. Meditate, clear your mind. Take the space till you can find that all of the noise makes it hard to hear
Trust the wisdom you have. Intuition. Trust yourself. You know best. Face your fears, forget the rest. Listen closely, whispered breath, messages from deep within. Messages from deep within. Messages.
Boy, does that song sing out to this teaching. Okay, are we on here? Need it up a little bit. Now is the time when we are going to ask you to grab your envelopes. Fill them full if you would like. Or if you're doing recurring online, that's great. If you are online, there's a donate button in the upper right, I believe, that you can do that. But maybe start Joanne's assignment today by thinking about something you've done over the past year, something made you feel good, some kindness that you did. And look at that. Feel it deep inside. It's very important to do that. And also recognize that you'll be doing it again and again and again. And feel that fire within you as you go about your day. And feel it burning very bright right now. But remember, it never goes out as you go along. And now we will pass the baskets this time. And bless them all the time. And now we'll have a few announcements. There are very few. We have a book study going on Thursday nights. If you're interested in joining that, reach out to Celeste or reach out to info@cslminneapolis.org. It's got about another, 9 sessions? Yep,
we're in the middle of Ernest Holmes' Love and Law.
In the middle of Ernest Holmes' Love and Law. We also have announced that we have a new website. Some of you are watching us on it now. We are adding more and more to it. Our past services will be there. Our extra shots will be there. We are beginning to put up some spiritual mind treatments, affirmative prayers on there. There is information about our teaching, what we believe. So we are excited to have that and continue to build with it. All of our past sessions, like I said, will be there also. So feel free to go to that. And if you are a practitioner out there, we're still looking for some headshots to go on there. So we're excited to have that. It was kind of a long process, but we got it, and we're now broadcasting live through the website. So that's a nice place to be with it. And Reverend Debbie's going to come up and give a little update on the Ukrainian family that is making some progress, and will pray us out.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Claire, Reverend Joanne, Anthony, and we're so blessed around here. So, so blessed. Okay, so I've got 2 announcements. The first announcement is the Ukrainian family that Joan and Colleen are sponsoring finally got their approval to travel this week. So they are on, yes, isn't that fabulous? They are on their way. I believe they go to Poland because they've got a small dog, so they have to go to Poland. Their dog has to go through another round of whatever, and then they get on a plane. So we don't yet know when they're going to arrive, but it's going to be soon. So if you are interested in supporting them, there's a couple of things that we can all do. There's a GoFundMe page, and I think if you go to the GoFundMe and you put in Joan James, I think it'll take you right to that place. You can, and they're like 90% towards their GoFundMe goal. Or you can see me after the service, and I will provide you their phone numbers, Joan and Colleen's phone numbers. You can call them or text them and arrange to get a check directly to them. Also, we've got a list of things that they're needing. So the mother is like a large to extra large. The husband is XL, he's extra large. And then they've got a little girl who's, we don't really know. She's 3 feet tall, that's what we know, and weighs, anyway, there's details, right? So the things that they need are clothing, toys. I think Marv took care of the dog already, so the dog's handled, which is good. The dog's handled. And then other things like laundry baskets and irons and all of those things one would need to set up a house, because that's the next step, right? Get them here, get them clothed, help them find a place to live, and furnish their place. That's sort of the goal. And he's done construction work in the past, so if you know somebody who is interested in hiring an apprentice of some flavor, that would be great too. More to come next week as far as dates and everything, but we are so happy. Joan and Colleen would be here, but they tested positive for COVID, so they're not going to be anywhere for a little while. But that's all right, they got lots to do at home to get ready. So there's that. My second announcement is our very own Reverend Sherry is being ordained with CSL on the first Saturday of March at 4 o'clock Pacific, at 6 o'clock our time. If you want information on how to participate with her via Facebook, there's information over with Celeste. I have a card. We have a card here for her. We would love to have you sign it. The Sunday she gets back, we're going to have a little celebration with some cake and sparkling cider. So I don't know if that's the second or third Sunday. I have to ask. Second Sunday. She'll be here the second Sunday of March. So come and party with us and have some cake. It'll be fun. No candles, just cake. So anyway, please make sure you sign the card. We're excited to have her come back. She's saying goodbye to Southern California. She's ready to come to Minnesota. Can you believe that? I know. So we're really excited to have her come back and join our crew. Also, she is doing, she's just finishing, I believe, a Brene Brown class called Rising Strong, and she's going to do another one. So that will start probably in April, and she limits the class to 10. She's already got 4 people signed up without knowing the date. So we will hear more from her.
Yeah, the class is amazing.
There you go.
Very much worth your time.
Mary Sue right there. Amazing. So we're excited. And she's still going to, even though she'll be here in Minnesota, she's still going to do it via Zoom. Those of you out there on the website, info.cslminneapolis.org if you want more information. Plus, we'll share it the second week in March when she's here. We'll let her talk about it. There you go. And then before I pray us out, I want to invite all of you to know that we have some incredible practitioners. And these practitioners, licensed practitioners, since we're all practitioners really of this teaching, these licensed practitioners include this center, this community, in their daily spiritual work. If there's something specific you would like work on, you can see them after the service. We have Colleen Wilkinson, we have Dennis Bird, we have Celeste Haskell, we have Jeff Bird, Dee Ray, myself, and Reverend Joanne. So if you want to see someone, please let us know. If you have something else you would like, some prayer, you don't really want to see us personally, you can fill out a prayer request form. And with that, I'm going to pray us out. Claire's going to sing us out. And then we have cookies, we have coffee, we have incredible fellowship. So please plan on sticking around. And so with that, let us just take one of those lovely, lovely breaths together. And that breath that just centers us in the truth of knowing that there is just one. And it is that one that is expressing itself and experiencing its creation as we experience our life. And in this moment, I invite us all to become willing, to be willing, to go down that path with heart, with kindness, knowing that as we do, we attract back to us all the good. It is with that that I say, thank you, Spirit, for doing the heavy lifting and providing all of the goodness. And so it is. Reverend Joanne, do you want to bless us out?
I'll leave you with this blessing. May you be at peace. May you know the beauty of your own true nature. May your heart be open. May you be healed. May you be blessed. Namaste.
Namaste.
How you feel about singing? We'll roll through the chorus one more time since that's all we have to go for. I just wanted to make sure you weren't headed back for the coffee right away, that's all. This is the chorus. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Okay, there's going to be a switch too, because we're going to go from I am to we are. So keep that in mind. I think you'll figure it out. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. There's magic in every day, like a beautiful song. As I'm choosing my way, there's a voice inside to guide me along. Here we go. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and
always I am spirit-led. There's magic in every day. It's a beautiful song. As we are choosing our way, there's a voice inside to guide us along.